Hello, Scrufftards and rejects. Welcome back to the Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video, I want to quickly highlight that we have CV90's outflanking Russia in Kursk. But first off, I need to correct something from my previous video, where I was talking about Russian casualties in Kursk, and I completely fucked that up. And it just felt wrong, but I just couldn't get my mind around it really, because it says it was a Substack, and I misquoted him and misunderstood. I don't know, my brain wasn't firing as it should have. And it says here that the VSRF groups Sever North wasn't reinforced, and then the Substack author, Sarkassosaurus, says the VSRF, right, the entirety of the Russian army had suffered up to 20,000 casualties. And my mind just, didn't connect the dots. And it was early morning, and I was like, what? They lost 20,000 in Kursk? Because that is what the article was, starting out with. So I didn't connect the dot that the North group was separate from the entirety of the army. So I messed that up. They did not take 20,000 casualties in Kursk. It's 20,000 casualties overall in the war from the 6th of August and forward. I don't know, I completely messed that one up. So anyway, get the record straight. No, they have not lost 20,000 troops up in Kursk. It just felt off when I made the video and was like, can this really be true? It can't, can it? Because if that's true, it's insane, and so on, yada yada. Anyway, so record straight. I messed up. I fucked up. Made a video about it, and inadvertently made a clickbait video. Wasn't my intention, but it happened. Yeah, it's the internet. People fuck up. Anyway, moving on. So we have confirmed that Ukraine is using the STRF 9040, also known as CV90, up in Ukraine, up in Kursk, in the Kursk incursion. This is considered the best infantry fighting vehicle in the world. Has excellent protection. The crews have told us stories how they have been hit time and time again by RPGs, by mortars, by drones and what have you, and everyone on board survives. And the gun itself, it is a beast of a gun. It can defeat anything that isn't a tank, and if it's a tank, it has a very good chance of scoring penetrating hits from the flank and definitely in the rear. This is a beast of a vehicle that can destroy basically anything it comes across on the battlefield, and it has been spotted in Kursk. And a dead giveaway is this triangle. This is the mark for units taking part in the Kursk campaign for Ukraine. And we also have some video footage from Kursk where you have CV90s moving along. Here it's moving along on a road. This is from somewhere else, I don't know, but it's a CV90 and it's attributed to the Kursk invasion. We also have a video that claims to show an SRV-122, the Swedish main battle tank, a Leo 2 version, upgraded with heavy armor. And the video itself, it's hard to make out. It's clearly a Leo 2. When you watch the video, you can tell by the turret. But if it's an SRV-122, not so sure. It doesn't appear to have Barracuda armor. The barrel could be the shorter L44 barrel that the SRV-122 has. I believe all the other Leo 2s in Ukraine has the longer barrel. So the barrel length could indicate that it is an STRV-122. But it doesn't look like it has Barracuda armor, so it's a bit unclear if it actually is. But I do believe that we have STRV-122s in Kursk together with the CV90s, because it appears as if the Swedish Brigade as it's called, the 21st Mechanized, is actually operating in Kursk. And it is the Ukraine control map that has given us this clue. The Ukraine control map likes to try and identify geolocated units along the front line, and they have positioned the 21st Mechanized Brigade, also known as the Swedish Brigade, right here at Novoput, taking the lead into Glushkovo County, where Ukraine has tried to push in to outflank the Russians, fighting in Veseloye, trying to reach Glushkovo up here. And the 21st Mechanized is famous for operating a bunch of CV90's and also the STRV-122. So I think it's safe to say that we have STRV-122s operating in this area of Kursk, along with a full host of CV90s trying to push through Veseloye, pushing out here to outflank the Russian positions and pushing towards Glushkovo itself. So yes, this is the area where we have the 21st Mechanized operating in. If they are heading straight for Veseloye, I think we have video evidence of the 21st heading for Veseloye and being taking part in this important battle for this town to secure the highway leading straight for Glushkovo town itself. And this is an important task. This is what could potentially make or break the battle up in Kursk if Ukraine can push through here and reach Glushkovo and isolate this entire area, which could allow Ukraine to mop up resistance and occupy all of this territory here between the same river and the Ukrainian border. And also, if Ukraine pulls this off, they are in an excellent position to push out east to threaten the Russians in the rear and link up with Ukrainian forces over here, right? So that could mean that Ukraine, in the long run, secures territory south of the same river as well as south of the Snagos River. And the 21st Mechanized and the Swedish vehicles CV90 and STRV-122s, they are currently fighting on the front line, taking the fight to Russia within Russia itself, trying to achieve these objectives of reaching Glushkovo and setting things up for attacking the Russians in the rear. And I showed you this image before. We have a CV90 moving along a road, and in that video, I'll try and remember to provide that link as well. We can see the CV90 passing some forests, tree lines, and you have this tree line sticking out this way, and you have brown fields around it. And I think I've located it in Kursk. I think it's this part here, right here. You can see here you have the highway, you have the windbreak tree line, and then a windbreak that pops out on its own. So I think it's here from the road from the Ukrainian border town. You go through a Russian border town, and then along this highway you continue all the way up to the main battle at Veseloye. So I think this CV90, this one here, is moving along this way to take part in the assault on Veseloye. And I mean, if we zoom in a bit on that point in the terrain I had marked, here you have windbreak and this windbreak that goes off on its own, and there's a tiny piece of space here in between, right? It kind of fits with what we're seeing, kinda. I'm not saying it's a perfect fit, but kinda. So I mean, where else would it be? I guess it could be anywhere, but if Ukraine control map is correct and has the 21st Mechanized operating in this area here, taking part in the assault on Veseloye, this piece of terrain feels like it's a perfect match for what we're seeing here with the brown fields surrounding it and a straight windbreak tree line along a highway, and then you have this offshoot here. So I think I located where that CV90 was driving, which should indicate that it's heading up here to take part in the battle at Veseloye. And that's it. There's not that much info there. I've been looking around trying to see if I could find anything on the CV90s and Kursk and the SRVs and what have you. And there's not that much out there except for these few images, these few snippets of video, and the Ukraine control map placing the 21st Mechanized right at Glushkovo. Uh, so that's all I could find tonight. Also, if you take a look at the SRV 122 video, I'll have to remember to link it below. At about 1 minute, at around 1 minute marker, you can actually hear what sounds like a big autocannon going boom, 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 which could be a CV90 somewhere in the background engaging the enemy downrange, slightly ahead of this potential SRV 122 moving past the soldier with the camera. So keep a lookout for that. So anyway, yep, that's all I have for you this time around. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine, give them hell, and in the end, Russia will remember that Swedish steel cuts deep.